You ready for this? All right. The statements issued by hosts, co-hosts, guests, and anyone else appearing on the show do not reflect the stance of the College of New Jersey or the NJDOE OSE. Please use your professional judgment when implementing strategies and resources within your practice. Hey listeners, Brian from the future. This is the final episode from the 3-part series with Paul Day. Be sure to catch up on parts 1 and 2 if you haven't done so already. You can find the links to those in the description below.
And I do want to talk a little bit about your lead accessibility role here, or currently at Visa, I should say. So maybe could you just talk a little bit about, what's your day-to-day experience and role now? Like, what does it actually entail? And just maybe some examples of the things that you're working on, currently at Visa.
Yeah. So when I first started at Visa, I was a part of the strategic initiatives and partnerships team. So the way that our accessibility team is set up, it's set up with amongst multiple teams that form into one sort of larger accessibility team. So there's different parts of accessibility that like each team covers. So the strategic initiatives and partnerships team is described to me when I was applying for the job as the Navy SEALs of accessibility. So that team handles the different fire drills that may pop up, but the main remit is to support our top tier banking clients and our top tier products, making sure that those products are accessible and are compliant. And we do that through one-on-one consulting, accessibility coaching, helping them get on the roadmap if they're beginning the accessibility journey, plan out the roadmap strategy, to lead them through their testing by doing a automated or a sample test, sample audit.
Yeah.
For them, helping scope out their accessibility plan. And we could run into teams that are in different levels of our own internal accessibility matrix. We have different levels from like level 1 up through level 5, and sort of helping support them through that. And again, you had different teams that were at different levels. And as I say, teams and products like these, I call Visa the octopus. I know people hear Visa, you're thinking a credit card company, but Visa is far from a credit card company. Visa is a financial technology company. I had no idea what Visa truly was until I got onto the inside. We touch everything. Our goal there is to be the best way to pay and be paid. So we support the underlying infrastructure of ensuring that payments are fast, secure, and seamless. We also provide products to your banks to allow them to provide services and products to you, allow you to be able to pay your bill, different things like that. So Visa is a global company that's made up of a lot of other companies. So when I say a team could be a product or an organization that alone has maybe a 1,000 or 2,000 people in it, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's huge. So these
That is a lot of people then to manage. So you're, in terms of that accessibility analyst role, potentially you're working with these, I mean, not literally all 1,000 people on the team, but a portion of that team to look at, are the products that they're working on accessible?
We're working with their top leadership. We're working with the account executives that are speaking directly with the banks. We're speaking with the leaders there. Then we're working in the trenches with the designers and the devs that are actually designing and and developing the work, because their goal at Visa is to get into accessibility from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we start from the beginning. We sort of bake it in. We have our own internal, we call it VGAR, Visa Global Accessibility Requirements. I think we also have a public facing one of that as well, but it's based on WCAG, web,
Right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
of
Mhm.
course, guidelines.
Of course.
And then it's put to the flavor that meets Visa's business, right? Because we are a unique financial technology company that spans the globe. We also have to take into consideration not just United States law, but
Of course.
laws that fit Canada, the
The
UK,
EU.
Europe,
Yeah.
everywhere, EU.
Right. Yep.
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
get to work with teams that are in the EU, New Zealand, all across the globe. So that's just one aspect of it. That's just like the one remit of that team. We also then help handle any like high priority things that like may come in, right? So we'll go and we can look at a product or something that's going to go out, and we can help ensure that is accessible, or that it will remain accessible. We also then handle internal training. So I've done some internal training around accessibility, around JAWS, how to use JAWS, how to test with JAWS, so help people that are doing the testing um, know how to use the the screen readers and the different tools that we're asking them to use when they're making sure that their products are
Mhm.
accessible. We also have done work with our internal sort of accommodations process, because Visa's goal is to be um, a company that is inclusive, right? We strive ourselves
Mhm.
to be that, and to hire people from all backgrounds, all types of disabilities. So
Mhm.
we work hand in hand with our accommodations team to help streamline and update our processes. And I then I also had the freedom to sort of work on other sort of projects. So I led a working group around um, bringing together all of our internal tools that were already available for our employees with disabilities to use. So as you can imagine, a huge global corporation, you may have, okay, this software is available here and this is available there. Where to go get it? It's on this site. So working together with our corporate software teams, our security teams, our legal teams, our accommodations teams, all different parties involved to gather all of those resources and bring them into one centralized location that we named the All Access Tech Hub, so that anybody,
Oh, that's
regardless
cool.
whether you have a disability or not, you can go find a tool that can help you do your job without even having to have an official accommodation. So whether, just let's say like, you were working and you broke your hand and now you can't type. Is there anything that can help me, with, type now? Okay. You can go look here and say, type in something as simple as broken hand, and you'll get dictation software that will come up. So we had to think through the keywords that would go into the background of it. I didn't want it to have to be technical or necessarily like politically correct, right? I wanted someone that knew nothing about accessibility to be able to go and say, my eye hurts, and get
Right.
results off of that and get the
Mhm.
right tools. So we spent a lot of time around the keywords that would power the um search. So, and that's an ongoing process now. It's a living resource that we continue to sort of add to as we get new tools and new software, and like there's ergonomic offerings that are there as well. So that's something that I continue um
That's
to
awesome.
work on.
Yeah.
You said All Access Tech Hub, right? That's what you guys
Yeah,
called it?
I
yeah.
yeah, I love that, and I love that it was like a pet project.
Mhm.
It was just like an extra thing that you were like, this could be cool. And just think about the value across an organization that, just to pull all those resources together.
I didn't
Very
even think about how that would be applicable in a school,
Right.
how to
absolutely.
build
All
something like that into a
organizations.
classroom or a
Yeah.
Now that's only inward focusing, right? That's not. There's no no one can access that from outside, right? To see
That is
what
correct.
tools you
Yeah,
guys use. Yeah.
just for our internal tools.
Oh, that's really great.
Yeah, so that team sort of gives us or gave you the reign to sort of go and sort of seek places, that you can innovate in, right? So like another big project that I'm proud of being involved in is our Tap to Phone suite of products. And we got to work on a solution for pin on glass. You go to these places and you have the flat screen. How to put the challenge of putting your pin in on a flat screen like that. So I got to work with the team that was working on solving that solution. And over like maybe just celebrated my 3-year anniversary. So over the years that I was there, we were able to through a lot of research and design, we did a lot of research with people with visual impairments and being able to iterate and change and test different concepts. We were able to get a patent for a solution that would allow people with visual impairment to securely and independently enter your PIN on a merchant's handheld phone device that they would use to make payments that you'll be able to see. So I got to go out to San Francisco and do research out there and go to different places. So that's
very cool.
That's one big thing I'm proud of.
And I think that leads into a good segue. We like to do a game show, a quiz tech game show on this. We're gonna call it Corporate Ladder or Access Denied. Are you ready to play, Paul?
Sure.
So what are the rules of engagement here, Brian?
So I'm gonna make a statement about accessibility.
Okay.
And Paul, Vanessa, or Madison, we usually we do have buttons, but since you don't have one, I'll play the button for you, Paul. That's one of our buttons we usually press. And then I call on you, and then you get points or something like that.
Feel free to make a funky sound. Or...
Okay, yeah.
That's right.
And so you're just
answer.
You're going to tell me either Corporate Ladder, it's a true fact, best practice kind of thing, or Access Denied, and it's a myth.
Okay.
All right. So anyone can call out. It doesn't matter. So first one, accessibility, which we just talked about this. So accessibility only benefits a small group of employees with disabilities.
Can I answer that one?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to say, here's my, I'm going to say access denied. That's not true.
And I think, you'd have one. And I think Paul just told us all about why that is because of his whole all access hub. So
exactly. I learned that from Paul today.
There we go. Statement 2, providing accommodations is prohibitively expensive for most companies.
Bing.
What is it?
Access denied.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. It's not expensive, right?
Not expensive at all. Like if you actually, I think there's numbers around this, look at the cost of the actual accommodation that most people are asking for. There's usually little to no cost at all. Not everyone's coming in and asking for, JAWS, which is expensive. But even now, the way that they're switching the pricing model to the Netflix model, subscription model, it's bringing down the cost of that even.
Right.
And if you're in a huge corporation, I mean, they spend that on the coffee filters.
Right.
So
Good point.
Exactly. All right. Statement 3. Digital accessibility for internal tools and external websites is a key part of a company's legal and ethical responsibility.
Ding. All right, I'll go. Sorry, I was making sure. I was giving people a chance.
That's okay.
She was providing wait time.
I was providing wait time.
If you wanted to answer at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, just akin to, not denying people, not discriminating against people when they're you're.
So wait, is it a corporate ladder or access
Oh,
denied?
sorry. Oh my gosh, corporate ladder.
There we go.
Yes.
Skip that part.
Ding, ding,
That's
ding.
okay. That's okay.
That's great.
But tell us why.
I was saying akin to not discriminating against people with disabilities when they're on the job search. Providing those tools is key to maintain that that compliance for sure.
Mhm.
Make sure the employee has what they need to be able to do the job.
Right?
Yep.
Now, I swear I wrote these questions prior. Did you have something to add to that, Paul? Sorry.
Go for it, Paul.
Oh no, I was
No.
agreeing.
Okay. I swear I wrote these. I did. I wrote these questions before we even talked on this show. So it's funny because the next one, a born accessible approach where products are designed inclusively from the start, from the ground up, right, is more effective than retrofitting them later.
I'll go.
Yes.
That is a
Mhm.
corporate ladder. That is true. And that's a little bit of the article that
Mm-hmm.
that Brian, that you quoted, and Paul, obviously, as you spoke about as well, that it's just easier to do it from the ground up. And it really is best practice.
Yes. 5,
Yeah.
accessibility is solely the responsibility of the IT department. What do you think about that one, Paul?
That is access denied. Yeah, accessibility expands the entire corporation. It needs to be taken into consideration when you're sending out communications, when you're sending out emails, when you're preparing your PowerPoint presentations, when you're hosting meetings.
Mhm.
Making sure that everyone, regardless of their ability, can access it. And it's just a good practice to sort of make sure that everyone like can take in your information and without having to sit there and think, well, there's no one in my on my team or
Right.
in my meeting
Right.
that's blind. Well, you don't know. There's no one here that's deaf. Like you don't know, or you don't know whether that person could be driving in and it's not on their screen that day, or for whatever reason their monitor isn't working. Like, would you want your manager not to be able to know what your presentation was because you didn't put it in a way that, or describe it in a way that they could access it because they were traveling and decided to call in from the airport?
Mhm.
Like, just
Right.
make sure that as many people as possible can access that, and people can then approach your content in the best way that's sort of best for them.
I think about that like with assistive technology in general. If we only train one person, if that person is out on PTO or something, who's going to help
course.
troubleshoot if there's things that go wrong, which with technology we know
Happens all the
things go
time.
wrong. So
Yeah,
you
we
can
want
think
to
about that
build
Definitely.
that
similar
capacity.
for those accommodations.
Yeah, for sure.
Last one, and I'm telling you again, I wrote these beforehand.
Yeah.
Companies with a strong focus on disability inclusion often see higher revenue, better net income, and improved team morale.
Being
What do you got?
corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yes, for
true.
sure.
And this actually comes from an article, or actually a report, the Disability and Inclusion Imperative Report. And I'm going to read actually right from the preface of it. Specifically, companies that have led on key disability inclusion criteria during that time have realized 1.6 times more revenue, 2.6 times more net income, and 2 times more economic profit than other participants had. And they're also 25% more likely to outperform on productivity compared to the industry peers that have not participated in the survey. So,
And it just makes sense. You're giving people the tools and things that they need to accomplish the task and the goal.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I also tell people, this when I'm sort of talking to them about, why accessibility is important. And in this field, you have to sort of know how to communicate with people on their level. So if you're speaking to account executive, you have to be able to speak account executive. Speaking to devs, you got to be able to speak dev. That's developer, designer, you got to speak design. But one key thing that I like to tell account executives is, like, when you're in these negotiations, right, with trying to win business, and our competitors are there, and a bank or someone's trying to pick between us, right? it's going to get to a point where we're going to be tied, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be that tiebreaker? What could we possibly offer to them that our competitors are not offering? And if we can offer, like, hey, our products are accessible, right? It's going to keep you compliant.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Europe, you're not going to get like exposure, like that could start to win contracts, right? Because if that company's not thinking about it, there's a leg up there, right? So, and it's also a place for innovation, because when something's accessible, like, people think it means like something around disability. It just means accessible means that more people can access it, right? More people can use it. It's not just people with disabilities. So if your product is accessible, it's shown to be easier to be used by everyone. So you get a leg up.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's definitely a way that somebody at a company could really upskill themselves for sure. Okay, Paul, as we wrap up, we'd love to get your final thoughts. What are your reflections on the current state of blind representation in the tech industry as someone who is blind and works in tech?
Yeah. I I would love to see a lot more of us, like, in the C-suite,
Mm-hmm.
um,
That'd be
up there,
awesome.
like in executive level, right?
Definitely.
I'd love to see us there, and not just in the C-suite, in the companies that are designing and making things for people with disabilities, but like mainstream. And I would like to see, like, executives that currently have a disability disclose it, right? So that it's visible and that people can have that reflection of like, oh, I can do that as well. And I'm speaking past like vision impairment, but to, like, neurodiversity and things like that. Um, coming out and being open, because it's those little kids and students that are sitting in class and seeing their peers, or talking about, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, or I want to be a scientist just like this person, and you're sitting there like, well, I don't hear about any people with disabilities that they're doing this or doing that. So I, I guess I can't do it. I do see a lot of us in the data realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some blind coders and stuff like that. So with technology, with AI, that's a field that you can compete in. Um, and it's a growing and opening field. So go hard on your technology. It's really going to be the thing that is going to help you. So um, get in there, try to get your hands on some of the software if you can, right? Go bug your parents, say, hey, I need to get R. Get me a subscription to R so I can learn how to use that software. Um, and if you already know what kind of career you want to get into, let's say, like, you want to do data analysis, you want to do a researcher, or you want to do coding, then try to get as much exposure to that now as you can while you're in school, while you're in college. Try to reach out to those of us that are in the field, to try to get sort of tips and tricks. Do your exploration now. Um, like, if I'm I'm always available to speak to anybody who's interested in getting into accessibility, and or getting into testing, or any type of career path, or in accessibility, because there's many different paths that you can take to get here. Like, you don't have to be a tester solely, right? You still need to know how to test, because that's just going to be like the underlining. But you know, just go out there, explore, get your hands on those tools that the professionals in your career use, and get exposure to it. Learn the pitfalls of it now, and try to find if there's ways, either it's being made accessible, or ways that you can use your current technology to find those workarounds, because those are the tools that are going to be used in your profession, whatever it may be.
And that's a wrap on another episode of AT Talks. A huge thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We love making this podcast and building this community with all of you. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. The team at the Assistive Technology Center at TCNJ is dedicated to supporting educators across New Jersey. If you were inspired by today's discussion and want to bring high-quality, free professional development to your district, Vanessa and Madison are ready to help. To learn how you can partner with the center and build capacity in your school, head over to our website. You can find all the information you need at atcenter.tcnj.edu. And while you're there, we want to hear from you. Visit the podcast tab. There you can send us a question through our Google form, or even better, leave us a voice message on SpeakPipe for us to play live on the show. Be sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date on all our latest events and resources. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube with the handle @ATCenterTCNJ. And don't forget to subscribe to AT Talks on whatever platform you're listening on right now so you never miss an episode. On behalf of Vanessa, Madison, and myself, Brian, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.